What's going on, people? You're locked into the Air Max 90s podcast. I'm here. My name's Matthew. What's going on, people? Shout out to a man like Nats. What you saying, guys?
What's happening, brother? How are ya?
I'm here, fella. I'm here. I see the top on, bro. I'm trying not to. I'm
That's
trying
what
not
I'm
to even
saying.
talk
That's
to him.
what
I'll
I'm
be honest.
saying.
I'll be honest. I've been trying to avoid him. All week, bro.
Everyone's avoiding me, bro. Everyone's avoiding me like the plague.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool. Congrats, man. Congrats. I'm not a hater, innit? Congratulations, innit?
But
I'm not a
someone
hater.
is that a Liverpool top?
Of course.
Yeah.
But I heard you lot have only
They've
ever
all-
won like one thing ever. Is that true?
We've only ever won one Premier League,
one Premier
but we've
League.
won
That's
19
it.
league titles.
In how many years though?
Yeah.
No, we haven't won a league for 30 years until obviously the other day. But in terms of the league titles, we're only second to Man United, who has won it 20 times, and we've won it 19 times. It's just the
Thought
But
league.
they've
The
only
league
that.
won
name was
one
just
Premier
changed.
League.
Yeah, it's just the league name was changed, innit? The
mm.
whole the association, but it's still the same things. The league, innit?
Okay. Not that I understand, but okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm speaking it as well.
You see a lot. Yeah. I was thinking, you're really going in with this, isn't it?
The league.
Nah,
They changed the
don't
name.
worry.
No problem.
You'll see it. You'll probably have to speak about it more anyway, because you'll see a lot more Liverpool fans now.
I keep
Nat,
seeing
I'll
stuff
I'll
and
give Nat. I'll give Nat that Nat was riding, so I'll give it to him. But there's a lot of man that out of nowhere. I thought
know
I could have sworn they supported Arsenal, but hey, maybe we was cheering. They was just cheering for me, I guess, when we was cheering. Maybe it's that. I don't know. You get me, but it's alright. But yeah, obviously, shouts out to Gully. Gully might join us later. Shouts out to Meter as well. But yeah, it's been a bit of a mad week still. It's been a bit of a mad couple of weeks. But this week's been a bit mad. Obviously, we've got a couple of things to talk about, but it seems a bit mad not to discuss the dreaded list. So yeah, I thought obviously for those who don't know, there was a list on Twitter that came out, kind of outing or was a list of people who are deemed to have either raped, sexually assaulted someone, or handled sexual abuse in any sort of way. Obviously, it ranged from like a lot of different things, but obviously the list is a list, and obviously being associated on that list is probably not something that you'd want. Obviously, I wanted to open it up to Laura Luscious.
Hi.
My girl, you get me. So obviously, it was. I felt like obviously she's part of the team anyway, but I felt it was important to speak to get a difference of opinion on something like this, because obviously as men we can be a bit dumb. So it's good to get both perspectives and just not be so one-sided in that. So what was so Luscious, what was your thoughts when you obviously saw the list initially? Let's talk from the beginning. So like when the list came out, initial thoughts.
Yeah. So like initially when I saw it, I thought, it's just gonna be like, because there's been lists for ages. There's been lists of things that have happened in uni in terms of guys sleeping with girls, girls sleeping with guys, situations that have happened. But there's never been anything this in depth where people are just like, no, we're talking not just sex now, we're talking actual sexual assault and sexual abuse. I didn't know how intense that list would be or extensive that list would be, but there are some names on there. There's some names of people that I recognise. And there's even been some stories that have come out of people, and it's been crazy, because it's like there's certain people with an image on social media, on the Twitters, on the Instagrams or whatever, that you don't think that they could be a sexual predator, or not even a predator. They've got this kind of, I don't know what it is. Like they've got an image and you just wouldn't think that they would abuse their position like that, but certain people have. So it's mad. It's very, very mad.
Mm. Nat, what did you think when you saw it? Because I agree in that it was definitely surprising anyway from just looking and hearing it, and obviously some of the names, like you said, it's not all people that are nobodies. A lot of these people have followings, have a standing,
Mm.
and the first thoughts was like, wow, obviously it's crazy and just obviously, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Nat, what
mad.
was your
Obviously, like I haven't seen the actual list or anything like that yet, but when I heard of it, because of certain names that was on there, I thought, oh, this kind of makes sense. But then when I further heard that, like, what it actually consists of, like the kind of categories, and it wasn't really listing the actual alleged crimes. I thought it was a bit wild, but it still needs to happen though, because there's enough people out there that just move absolutely mad, bruv.
Hmm.
Like in this,
mm, 100?
so these things need to happen, bruv, because obviously from listening around here, it come like certain men don't know they're doing madnesses, or they
They
don't
don't.
overstand they're doing
Mm,
madnesses,
They
which
don't.
is which is wild in
and well,
itself.
yeah,
So
we're gonna come to that. Yeah.
But so do women as well. There are certain situations that, if you broke it down in the eyes of the law, it would be
mm,
classed as sexual assault or sexual abuse. And
even
especially
that as well.
the
Mm,
assault side is
Mm,
so, it's a lot
mm,
broader than you think. Sexual assault is basically anything that you don't want to happen.
yeah,
So that
yeah.
could be the slap of the bum, or the stroke of the cheek, or
Mm,
it could be like the pull of the hair. Like, it's literally anything that could be deemed in a sexual light that you didn't want. So when you
mm,
think about it, like, as a woman, like, even myself, is like, when I spoke to my friends about it, it was kind of like, okay, you've always gone to a club, and a guy might touch your bum or whatever, they'll do like the slightest pinch, but in that moment you're not thinking, sexual assault. You're thinking, who done
mm,
that? I'm gonna thump him one. Like, you handle it there and then,
mm,
yeah,
kind of thing. But
yeah.
when you look back, like, it got to a point, like, even when we would go out, like, if you're walking, you'd make sure you'd walk two or three girls and maybe have one of your male friends
mm,
behind you, or like the
Mm,
female that's at the back. Like, I would always put my hand over like my back, kind of thing. It's such an unconscious thing that us girls
mm,
used to do, because it was a consistent, like, you're walking past a bar or something like that, and then someone could potentially, like, pinch your bums, grab your arm, and things like
that's
that, and you
so
don't think,
wild to me that.
mm,
Oh man, it's not even
yeah,
funny. It's
mm,
so wild that men even think like that.
yeah,
Oh,
but
bro.
guys do it.
mm.
It's
Yeah, they do.
But then it's like, not most girls, but they've obviously got an image where a girl hasn't turned around and said, "Oh, don't slap my bum." So they're like, "Well, what's the problem with it? That's just me trying to chirp you. That's just me trying to get at you."
Mm,
When it's not that. It's not that. You don't know a girl from
mm,
nowhere. You've seen her where you've seen her. Instead of just approaching her, you thought, okay, it's acceptable for me to just go and grab a bum. And if she turns around, then I'll go from there. Sorry?
mm,
No,
mm.
it doesn't work
Yeah.
like that.
No,
It
no,
doesn't
I
work like
agree,
that.
and I think Nat, you touched on something important. It's definitely important that because I think the best thing about this list was raising awareness, and not only to the crimes and to the assault that's happened to some of these women, which is obviously heinous and terrible, but also just I think it's opened up dialogue for men and for women to get a little
Hmm.
bit more clarity around
Certain
what's
situations,
acceptable and
yeah.
what's not. If there's any, yeah, because
Yeah.
there's some, like you said, there's things that have probably just gone on and we've seen it, and down to music. Like I was talking to one of my brethren today, and he was saying like we've grown up on R&B songs talking almost like in code and talking about feelings, like like attractions and like I don't want to talk about that, Mr. The funny guy. But even when you look at some of them songs, it's all about urges and about like
Yeah.
just all of these kind of weird like us urges. She knew like you want it. Like even I was talking about that Pharrell song that I know you want it. Like even just
Mm,
that concept, like how do I know
Mm.
she wants anything? But these things are kind of like in our mind. So as men and as women, because like you said, a lot of women do similar things, but there's obviously the whole concept of a man and a woman, and the gender stereotypes is different. So men get
Yeah.
sexually assaulted a lot, but may not feel like they're supposed to even say, "Whoa, that's sexual assault." It's all kind of
Or the
brushed off as funny, but
It
it's
yeah,
don't even
open.
really seem
Sorry,
like it exists in the man's side. Like,
yeah, it don't. To me, it's just like you might even laugh or you might think it's banter or whatever, but I think it's
you don't.
opened the
It's not
dialogue
taken
of
seriously
mm,
yeah, but we've opened the
unless it's like a
dialogue of what's
physical
acceptable.
altercation.
mm,
Sorry, then it's just
What
like,
was that,
ah, okay,
Andrea?
she it's like alteration. Yeah, physical altercation. Then it's just like, okay, how can that be abuse? Because she didn't punch me, she didn't hit me. Okay, yeah,
mm.
she might have grabbed me
Exactly.
in a particular type of way, but that can't be assault. Like I'm a man. Like
Mm.
I can't get assaulted by a girl. Like if I want it, I'll give it. If I don't, then I don't, kind of thing.
And I think there's also this concept of men that is like you're supposed to kind of embrace like that sexual contact, if that makes sense. So like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
even stems down from the whole like, men can be these sexual beings that can do their thing, have sex with as many people, and it's almost seen as like a sometimes it could be seen like a badge of honor or a little kind of like, yeah, I do my thing. So if a girl
Yeah,
does something to you, even if you don't want it, it's like, oh yeah, I'm like obviously I'm nice in it, or whatever. Where really you may feel uncomfortable, but you're almost not allowed to feel uncomfortable. But obviously, you don't want to turn
yeah,
it into the male plight because ultimately there are some women that and a women on the list or whatever that were sexually
hmm
assaulted. But obviously, it brings it on to the other side because obviously there were people on the list and I think the validity, and this is really careful because you don't want to be dismissive of anyone's feelings or anything that happened to women.
yeah,
And I just want to put it out there anyone that obviously did do anything from an abuse and assault, and especially rape, like they deserve anything that comes to them. But
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
obviously,
hmm
there's been a lot of kind of talk around it and about the validity of the list, and also even just the extent because it seemed a lot. It was very conflicting when it came out. Like initially, it just sounded like rape. Then it was like, okay, no, sexual abuse, sexual assault. There's levels, there's different levels. What actually happened? So obviously,
hmm
how do you think it was handled? And do you think I'm talking to Laura? Sorry, how do you think it was handled? And what have
Um,
you kind of heard around the validity of it?
so for me, it worried me straight away. Like I won't lie, it
Mm,
worried me straight away only because I just I just worried that somebody would say something they shouldn't or put a name in there that they shouldn't.
mm,
Because listen, cancel culture is very alive and kicking right now. We're canceling anyone and
mm,
everyone, and it's not like it was back in the
mm,
day when you might have done a little something here and there. We'll cancel you, then you can come back. Like right now, if you're cancelled in this 2020, like you're done. So when I
mm,
first saw that, I just thought to myself, I just pray that any name that is put forward to this girl, I mean, I don't even know who the girl is or how big her platform is. I don't know what it was. Um, but I just prayed that any name that was put forward, there would be a there would be a true, not even valid, but there would be a true story behind it. Um, because the names that are on there and the stories that I've heard of people losing jobs, losing business ventures, losing friends. It's like this is serious stuff. This is real life. And if someone had like a personal vendetta or say like a situation happened, and then because I want to say this in a way that doesn't make me sound insensitive, um, like if they were in a
they
situation
got
or a
angry, but they
situation
got
happened,
angry.
they got angry, and now that this has come across, and now they've taken what had happened as as sexual assault.
Possible. Mm.
When
Oh,
Yeah.
in that moment, it wasn't. And I'm not saying you can't change your mind or you can't look back and think, oh no, that was. But if you were in the same situation as you was then, would you think that now? If that makes sense.
Mm. No, 100%.
Because I know,
Let's just call a spade a spade. Like, there might be some people that have lied. Like, if we're just being real, and that's not to be insensitive to the people who haven't, because again, their truth is their truth, and they have to be, they have to be taken care of. They have to be
Yeah.
nurtured. They have to be protected. But there's people that's lying. Like, let's just be real. Not to say, not even just about the list, but in general. I know there's stories of women who have, like, maybe things have gone a different way to they wanted to initially. Maybe they're angry. Maybe they've had a passer with someone, and
Mhm.
it's turned into all of a
Vendetta.
sudden there was a vendetta or there's fault. And even just on the
Yeah.
list, like, I know, not to mention names, but one of my brethren was on the list, and I know, like, he even told me like certain, and it's like, come, I know that's not,
But
I know there's not validity in
there's
that, and
mm, there was a guy on the list as well. When the list was put out, the girl came forward and put some screenshots of the conversation. Then the
No way.
guy came and put the rest of the screenshots up there.
Is it?
you
And it,
see,
yeah, and it, not that she was lying, but she wasn't being truthful. She wasn't giving us the whole
Oh,
truth. So
yeah,
that's what I'm
yes, the
saying. You can do stuff
situation,
like that.
yes, the situation happened, and it wasn't anything. It wasn't a rape case. It was,
mm,
I think he basically just tried. So he tried to kiss her, whatever and
mm,
whatnot. She said no, cool, no problem. She said that she felt uncomfortable
mm,
and never spoke to him again. But then when he posted his stuff up, they've been going to events together. He made sure she got home okay. They're kikiing. They're still cool. So
mm,
which one is it?
What,
You
and
after
that's
answer
the
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 fact
thing,
as
question
well?
after.
Mm-mm.
and this is the
So
thing, and at the end
so
of the
don't come
day,
on Twitter and say after that day I never spoke to him again, and then he brings up the DMs. Not only are you two talking,
Mm.
but you're even okay to be going to events with him.
mm,
So what is it?
and then it's like, and what did you say after that? Like, what's, see what I'm saying? But Nat, what, obviously from your perspective, what's your thoughts on it? Because again, like, it's hard. You don't want to be insensitive, but at the same time, you have to almost protect people who can't protect
Yeah,
themselves in this situation as well.
Yeah, you have
yeah,
to
it's
protect the
mad
ones
because
that are truth.
yeah, because a lot of times nowadays it seems like people will hear about alleged stuff and then they will just say, yeah, you're guilty without hearing any sort of
Mm,
no other side to it, and people do a lot of that. So dashing them things out there without putting the right what was alleged. This, yeah, with bare people's random names. I just think it's careless. I think it's too careless. I think it should have
Mm,
been. I think it
mm,
should have just been done properly, so it doesn't look like it could be any sort of mockery. Because there's people in there with their real stories. So one people in there with their real stories, you don't want to be mixing up with things that are kind of higgy in terms of how the evidence is looking. Right, she's saying that, and then right, when the next person's bringing up that, it's just not adding up. You don't want it to be mixing with people that actually have. There's stories in there that man knows that. Oh yeah, you've heard of that guy
mm,
before doing things like that. So you know them ones are kind of like, yeah, that's kind of a certain one. And then you're hearing other things where it's like, well, that's not even a level of that. So why are them things mixing together? So
yeah,
how it's
mm.
being put together, it should have been done a bit more structured, if anything. So it can't be questioned, the validity of it.
mm,
Mm. Because I definitely
yeah,
think that it's that one thing I would say that it's careless in how it's come out. In my opinion, I think it was careless. I think it could have been done in a way that made it kind of detailed exactly what had happened, who had done what, and it was, I don't know obviously the validity and what they did in terms of their due diligence, but it
Mm,
seems
mm,
as though because of the amount of back, I don't want to say backtracking, but the changes and kind of the developments of the way that the list was formed and everything, it seems like they could have done more due diligence to make sure that one, the stories were true, and also you could have said what somebody did. Because, and this is not to kind of downplay anyone's thing, but there's a difference between somebody grabbing your arm to try and talk to you and you didn't like it, and somebody raping you. Like, there's a difference. And it, when you hear of a list of like this magnitude, you kind of almost subconsciously think that everybody on that
the
list
worst thing. You're gonna think of
done
the
the
worst thing
worst
straight
crime.
away. Yeah, that's the first thing
Exactly,
you
yeah,
think.
the worst thing straight away. And it's just like anything. If I went, boy, like this was a bit mad, in your head, you don't know what mad means. Mad could mean anything, but it could just, mad to me could just mean it was a bit mad because I was like, I had to run like for the bus. Where mad to you,
Yeah.
you might have been like I knocked somebody over. Do you know what I mean, or
Yeah, yeah.
something? So it's just
Yeah.
everything different, and I just think that could have been handled better, and it would have been better for the people who genuinely have gone through like
The
really
traumas and stuff
heinous
like that on
things
there.
and the
Yeah,
Yeah.
trauma, like for the actual victims. I mean, as well. I think the detail and the understanding, and I think that could have been done a little bit better, personally. But
Yeah, and that's something that, like you said, that's a very good point. The trauma of it, because the magnitude that this happened on, the people that I've spoke to, have been triggered by what was said, not because any name was familiar or any situation was familiar. It's because the situations or these names is triggering thoughts of past events that might have happened, or situations that have happened. The aftercare on a conversation like this isn't like, you don't put something like this on Twitter and then just leave it to fester. Like, I think Twitter is such I think Twitter is such a dangerous place that people feel safe in it in the weirdest way. Like, people put out so much on there, and okay, this list has come out. You know, girls have said this, boys have said this. Now what? We don't know, or no one knows how many people have really been affected by this list. Like, no one. Like, I had a conversation with someone. She's not even involved in the Twitter world whatsoever, but it just triggered a thought. Like, who's going to look after her when she's thinking about something that's happened before?
that's true as well. You
It's
know,
like, it's
it's
tricky.
very,
And
very
then
true.
even as like a woman, you start thinking back and you start looking back at, oh,
Like
was I
past
assaulted then?
experiences.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, like,
yeah,
you
and that's
start to
how.
question everyone and anything, and it's mad. It's very, very
And
crazy.
that's
And I think, me, you
yeah,
said it,
and
it's
even as a
definitely the
man,
conversation to have.
like I said, even me, you start to think and you question, like, hold on,
You go back in your
did
mind just
I,
to check in your brain, like,
is there,
yeah.
yeah, in your mind, just to check, like, is
Mhm.
there any situations where it was like, could I have said something
Mm,
that was inappropriate? Like, you start to question because, again, like I said, it opened up a dialogue. And this is just me just being very honest. It's like, it opens up that dialogue in your mind to start making you almost rethink how
yeah,
you've
100%.
acted and how you've
Yeah,
kind of gone about things. And if there's a way that you can be a little bit more
Mm,
understanding
definitely.
to a woman's situation, because it's just a
yeah,
really, just a nuts kind of situation, to be completely honest. And also, it just makes you think, man, like, man, them are actually moving
Bro,
wild. Like, it's
bro.
just,
it
and
is.
but then
It's
and it also, you
crazy.
go back and you start thinking that maybe there was times when, not like you saw a man moving mad, like actually in your face, but you've heard that, he was a bit this or a bit forceful,
Mm,
or he
Hmm.
dragged her up, and like, or just
mm,
things that you kind of just almost become like numb to, but you actually have
yeah.
to sit back and go, do you know what? That's actually really like bad,
It's a
and we
bit
got to kind of
wild. Yeah, it's a
protect.
bit nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got to
But
kind of
it's like the
protect our
mandem are
women a bit
talking. I
better.
know that, yeah, like, if like mandem are talking or anything like that, a guy's not going to say, oh, she said no, but I still done it anyway. And she kept saying no. Like, that's not going to
Yeah,
be
they're not gonna
they're
say
not going
that.
to say
Yeah.
that to you. And she's going to be like, oh, yeah, she didn't want
100.
to do it. And then we did. You're just going to think, okay, she was doing the playing hard to get. That's the image that's painted. Oh, she was acting hard to get. But in the end, yeah, we had sex or whatever. You're just going to think, okay, maybe she wasn't sure she was going to do it. And then, okay, boom, bam, bim, they did. You're not going to think anything of it. A guy's not going to turn around and say to you, yeah, she definitely didn't want to have sex with me, but I made her do it. You're not going to sit there and have that type of conversation.
Yeah, yeah, of
Hundred
course. It
percent.
wouldn't happen.
And
No.
it kind of brings me on to, because obviously it's hard not to touch on a couple of like the names, because obviously, like you said, some people came forward with their own kind of stories and they elaborated on it. And
Yeah.
obviously one of them was a young lady, and she spoke about being raped. And I think it was, her name was, I think it was Adine or something like that, I can't remember. But obviously it brought up an artist. And my thing, not to obviously draw, like, really touch on the artist too much or whatever, but it was more the response. So what he said, and then his response, it kind of made me look at things and think, do men need to be do they kind of fully know some people? And because obviously Nat, you touched on it as well, and it was like there's a very thin line between like persuasion and force in a way,
Mm.
or
And
you know,
manipulation,
and
you
I
get me? There's
think
a very thin
and
line.
Or
Yeah.
manipulation and
sexual
things like that,
coercion.
and
Yeah,
sexual
that's it.
coercion,
Yeah. hmm
and it's like where what is it? Where like how can men be educated on that, and also how can women kind of make it abundantly clear what's happening? And again, I don't want to be insensitive because obviously everybody deals with things in a different way, but I think it's
Mm.
important to because looking at the situation and looking at because obviously and again it's not I don't know. I think it was somebody that they had like a maybe a past relationship, like a girlfriend or a link or something, and
Yeah.
they had already been in situations,
Yeah,
and
hmm
they'd already linked before.
obviously
Yeah.
they had already linked whatever. So it's like, where do you like? How is it? How can it be seen, or how can it be made clear what's happening? Is it just a no? Because again, and let's be honest, if we're having an honest conversation, some people have said no and changed their mind in life. I'm not saying in those situations, but in life.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
what kind of things can be done to make it abundantly to educate people for one, and to make it abundantly clear so that almost there's no gray area here. This is what you're trying to do. But I'll talk to Nat. Nat, do you get
Mm.
what I mean by that? What I'm saying?
Yeah, you see, in
Yeah.
terms of me for a guy, yeah, I
Mm.
think the main thing that man don't want to pick up on is you hear one no, you let it go. That's the main thing.
Hey, the rhyme.
Even
So,
even if,
so,
but even if you
so,
feel, fam, no, seriously though, even if you feel like, yo, she's looking like she's on it, fam, that's one no's enough, fam. That's enough, cause,
mm,
and read the room a lot more as well, because it's almost
mm,
like, fam, you need to be
word.
picking up on all them sort of emotions like that. But you can't be touching up the girl and she feels stiff, and you still think in your brain that yeah, she's on it. Yo, just them little things. But I feel like man will
Mm,
act like they don't clock them things. Which,
mm. You
but
gotta
also
think, obviously,
mm,
go on. Sure.
another thing as well, yeah, is the whole thing of um definitely because I don't ever want to feel like I'm putting no sort of onus on the other sex. But you like see a lot of things, especially in terms of
Mm,
social media, it messes up a lot of things because people make bants about lots of things, yeah. And I think because a lot of people take social media
mm,
so seriously, they feel like
Yeah.
them things are gospel, if that makes sense. So
hmm
man will see jokes
mm,
about, oh yeah, a girl cuts a man about her saying no, and man's not moving to her still. And I think man will take that like it's gospel when really and truly that's social media to me is another world. It's not part of reality. You
mm,
get me? So in
mm,
reality,
100%.
fam, you hear the no once. That's enough. That's enough, fam. Like that
mm,
will stop everything, fam. And just being really, really concerned how the room is like. So read it and I've asked questions if you feel if you don't know, Ruboy. But open your mouth, fam. You're
mm.
That's
opening the
it.
girl's legs, Ruboy. Open your mouth, Ruboy, and speak, fam, as well.
That's it.
If you're not sure, you get me.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
No, it's facts. What do you think, Lars?
I think in terms of I think it's a mentality thing. I'm not gonna lie, because if a guy just kind of is trying to get in a girl's knickers or whatever, there's a certain type of person who will hold themselves up and just be like, okay, I need to ask whether she's interested in me or not, if she's cool with doing that or not. Like I've got a friend who's very, very careful the way that he speaks to women and the way that he just them like you'll have to have a conversation in a sexual manner before it gets physical. And it needs to be a
Mm,
yes, 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 yes kind of thing. If there's a no in there anyway, it's a no for everything.
For
Like
everything, yeah.
it's just that. And I think a lot of things, like you're saying, social media, especially Twitter and stuff like that, it creates such a world where you're so free to speak about whatever you want. When a guy or girl sees you in a real life, it's like, okay, back your chat. Like do what you were
mm,
doing on the timeline kind of thing. It was like, well,
hmm
no, you're allowed to express yourself the way that you want on social media. and then like in a real life,
mm,
I,
Yeah, of course.
that's real life. You can't tell me 140 characters is what's going to tell you, oh yeah, I'm on it with you. No,
Mm.
mm,
I think it's just, I honestly really think it's just the mentality of men and the expectancy. You've got guys who've got
mm,
money or guys with status. It's like a lot of girls flock towards them.
mm,
So it's like, oh, well, she's on it because she's around me drinking my, Moe bottles, or, she's chatting to me because I've got 10K followers or whatever. Certain guys start to build up a level of expectancy of like, okay, well, I'm so and
Mm.
so.
mm,
So I don't need to,
Mm-hmm.
like, I need to ask.
Mm.
Like, and
mm,
it's just one of those things. And not to kind of like sway another way, but there are females that, will date certain types of people only because of who they are. And yeah, they may not fancy them, or yeah, they may not be interested, but it's their status. So when you see that,
mm,
it's kind of like, all right, cool, I can take what I want. So somebody who's got status will then go and chat to someone thinking, oh yeah, I could get her. And when she's not interested,
mm,
take it too far
I
because
think,
they're
what do you
so
mean?
used to getting a yes.
Mm.
When someone tells no, it's just like, okay, that's a
Some
yes
people
then,
believe it. Yeah.
because they don't believe in no's. See, I
mm,
think it's a mentality for me personally in terms of education, in learning to like read the room.
mm,
I think it's a mentality of a certain type of person. I'm not gonna lie, because like you're saying, a girl can say no, and a guy will just be like, all right, cool, I'm still gonna try it anyway, even though she told you no. It's
mm,
just like, okay, you didn't read the room, or
Mhm.
you knew what was going on in the room, but you decided to ignore it anyway. That's something wrong with you
Yeah.
here. That's here. That's
mm.
something else. So it's just dangerous because
No.
you never really know whose thought process what as a female.
Mm, no, what? And I think I do think there is an element, like you said, you touched on this, an element of arrogance in that people feel like, especially when you're like a celebrity, famous in some way, shape, or form, there's this kind of warped sense of reality that everything kind of, there's no real rules
Got,
for
yeah.
you. Like
Yeah.
you've kind of the
Mm,
attention, the whatever, like what you kind of want. Because you hear about it, you hear footballers, you hear rappers, you hear
Mm.
yeah.
even like people in Senate, and you think, why would you need to like assault someone? Why would you need to rape someone? Why would you need to
Mm.
do that? But it must be there's a power and there's an arrogance in feeling like I can kind of do anything that I want, and
Yeah.
And no one can't
everyone
touch me. Yeah.
should, yeah, no one can't touch me, and everyone should be able to do something. And it's like, and even just down to like, there was people on the timeline who, there was like all this underage stuff, and like,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
again,
but
it's
like,
just some just creepy kind of just
bruv.
and obviously me, obviously
Mm,
I got a daughter, I've got a sister, I've got a
Yeah, got
mum,
daughter as
I've
well,
got a
sister as
it
well. You
just
get me?
it's
Crazy,
just
like.
it's just I just don't get that. But it's just it winds it kind of winds me up because you just think, I feel like it must just be some sort of thing where you feel in your head like there's no law onto whatever you do, or you're just a creep,
Mm.
though, just a creep, just nasty. But
yeah.
it's what is it that like I don't know. Like, I just don't know. I don't get what goes through your mind, but it just seems like there's this warped kind of sense of reality and the arrogance that comes with it to feel like you can do whatever you do, and that kind of shapes how they act in some of these situations. But obviously,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But and it even brings on to the other kind of high profile situation with Ray Black, and obviously she outed a rapper about grabbing her breast, and
Yeah.
um and obviously didn't know her too tough. Obviously met social media, like highs and buys promoting and whatever. It's gone up
Met
to
her
her,
one
grabbed her
time
breasts
before
and that.
that.
Met her one time before that, runs up, grabs her breast.
No, I don't think they'd met before that.
Oh,
I think
imagine,
Ray.
I thought she said she met him one time before.
I think they had
Okay.
met
No.
once. I think they had
Oh,
met
really?
once
I
through
thought
a
that was the
mutual person.
first time they saw each other.
Yes, yes. I think it was a case of they had obviously spoke to each other on socials. I think they had met
Okay.
through someone, and then obviously He's obviously, that's the first time they've met. I think just maybe like 1-to-1 from what I remember
I swear,
anyway from the
where
conversation.
was
And
they? I swear,
obviously,
when they at an event or something like that.
They're at an event.
yeah, they were at an
Yeah.
event. I think obviously when you've gone to events, there's that one-on-one where you might have just bucked her and whatever. And I think obviously that's what happened. And again, although that's it's a very mad situation when you think about it. I just think my man is is wild. I'm not
Wild,
even
fam.
laughing
Like,
because it's funny, but it's like I don't even understand. Like, for one, it's just mad brave, and for two, it's just like, how
But
do
do
you
you
feel
understand
like
now the
that's
concept
okay?
of expectancy now? Because let's just put it out there. Ambush is an artist. We've seen the girl status in his videos. He's
Yeah.
not my type, but he's not an ugly boy. He's not ugly. He obviously lives a particular type of lifestyle. I've seen sets before. I've seen video shoot sets before. Like with some of the agencies that I've worked with, and I've seen the type of things that girls say to me where it's kind of like, okay, we've got girls in the video, like the girls are going to do whatever, and guys think it's okay to touch them, i.e., touch breasts, touch bum. I know girls that have walked off shoots because guys have done that and they've tried to control it, and they're just like, oh, well, you're in the video kind of thing. It's like they expect that kind of glamorized American kind of thing. So when he's like, when I heard that Ambush did that, I was just like, okay. And then when I heard his response, I was like, you're actually mad. Like, you're mad. You're mad.
Yeah.
Like,
The
you are mad.
response was mad still, and I think
Even the
again,
bravery of
it's
doing it,
ego.
it's his
come
ego
like,
because he's
wow,
always been
who's on
able.
your management? Like, why are they even letting you say that? Like, bro.
But remember, I don't think he even would have thought that Ray would have put that out there, because that was just a conversation between him and her.
Oh yeah.
You know.
No, but even after the video, the voice note he put out, yeah, he's done some next response after that where he's talking. I'm like, bro, someone needs to get your phone, cuz I don't know why they keep letting you write, bro.
Yeah, so I think the first set of voice notes were from when it happened, and then there's the last one that he did with the all black one. So those voice notes and stuff happened time. Those were then.
The issue with him and the issue with people, especially man them, again, it's ego, because when you first hear it, obviously it's the whole my bad, oh, I didn't mean it, like my bad, you know, it's
then
not
it's like,
that.
no man, don't try.
Yeah, and I don't know if somebody's spoken to him and he's felt a bit moist, or he's thought about himself and thought, nah, don't try and come at me like. But it's like there's this kind of there's this ego where it's like it's hard for men to just just eat it all and just say,
just take it and say,
sorry,
you know what,
sorry,
my bad.
And I run, it was my bad. I apologize.
Without saying
like there was this.
after it as well.
No, I'm sorry, but don't try and boy me. Like, I'm sorry, but don't try and talk to man like that. And it's like, and the funniest thing is, if he just apologized, we probably never even would have heard about it, because it was like okay, apologize. Because after the first voice note, it seemed a bit okay, and then it was like, hold on, you're actually moving mad. What do you think? Yeah. And I think that's where you go wrong. But I think also what it made me think of was getting fame too quickly, because obviously Ambush blew up quite quickly, like maybe within
I was
6
speaking about
months
this with
to a
my
year.
brethren, saying the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, within 6 months to a year, he's a big artist. May have been, obviously he was doing music, whatever, but nobody knew him like that. Now he's massive. Then you get you get the girls, you get the situations, you get the people that are throwing themselves at you. You get the feeling that you can kind of do whatever you want. Obviously, me being in music, when there was certain things that's happened and I've got, you get this kind of acclaim. You're not used to the amount. Obviously, you know, nobody's like in a situation where they've never been around girls before, but you're getting pretty girls, you're getting other girls running at you, kind of just trying to navigate around you. And sometimes it's a bit like, whoa, it's flattering, and you kind of get that. And you might get that girl that afterwards that you might even move to, or you might be a bit sloppy, and it's like, not in terms of in a physical way, but you might talk to them in like, oh, do you know who I am, or what's good? And it's like, no, don't come at me like that. And then you think, oh, hang on, drop you down a few pegs or two, make you realize that, hold on, this is not really reality, really. Like the girls that are looking for you because of a fame or because of who you are, that's not really reality. That's just a warped scene reality that you kind of have to jump on. And also, let's be real, like Ray is from the end. She's from the from Deptford. She's from Peeps. She's not like she doesn't come across like some donut or some kind of that's not gonna stand up for herself. So it's almost like what made you even think that was gonna just be cool? And that's only because there's just a warped sense of reality when you almost look at everyone the same. And when you get fame too quick, sometimes it's not easy to just deal with that, and you kind of have to navigate and work out.
Bro.
Yeah, man, get lost in it. When people talk about getting lost in the sauce,
this is it.
A joke thing. It's because people they lose sense of what's their truth, what's the reality, and that to me, it just spoke of someone that was way too familiar and someone that kind of lost themselves a little bit. And you know, not to try and downplay it in any way, but I think that's how it came across. It came across like he's just gone mad. I don't know what he's doing, but
you know,
and I think he'll learn from it. Yeah,
he has to learn from it, because at the end of the day, you can't. And it's just like I said, it's the sheer bravery. This wasn't a private setting. You were at a big event. I think it was like Spotify or YouTube or something like that. I can't remember. I'm really bad with these things. But it was an event. It wasn't studio, or like it wasn't, you know, you just linked up really quickly, like you went to grab something from her or whatever. This was out in public.
Like, brother.
You know? And you've grabbed her, and then she's turned around and said to you, did you just do that? And then you've gone and giggled and kind of walked off.
What like, can I say?
You didn't deep the seriousness from the first time I tried to check you from it. Okay, so I'm coming to now message you, and then you're now trying to give me ag about it. Like, hold on a second.
So you don't. In that.
It's like he genuinely doesn't know what he's done, and to me, that's how it came across to me. Like, Ambush does not know what he's doing. He doesn't know it's wrong, because I think it's been so normalized to him that it's actually okay. Like, if you see a girl, you think she's nice, or there's something about her that you want, you're okay to take it, or you're allowed to take it, because you're not going to be told no. That's weird. That is weird.
It's mad as well. Like you can tell now, man's got bare yes man around them as well. Then.
Because, no, of course, 100%. Because the man that are rolling with you will see what you're doing. Because if you're doing that in public and no one said to you, "Right, don't touch Ray like that."
Yeah, fam, you get me like one of your brothers will be saying, "Yo, fam, you shouldn't be touching like that," because.
But then, and this is the maddest. And this is the maddest thing, when you actually hear the voice note. Obviously, he's talking to someone else.
in the background as well.
Someone's in the background.
It sounds to me like that brother probably moistened him after they've heard the voice note back. So it's like, it's not only you've got to kind of think for yourself, you actually got them around you that don't understand that, fam, it's not only for you as a person, as a human, you can't do that. Bro, do you think your career is going to be okay if you just around touching people and they just come out with it? Like, do you not like, again, when you're talking about reading the room, but sometimes you have to have people around you that are not as, that are better than, I don't want to say better than you, like, but
you have to say better than you.
The common, they're better than you, and have the common sense to say, nah, bro, that's wild. You better apologize.
Yeah, you can't have no yes man around you just saying yes to anything you're doing. That's
you better go, but like you better apologize. You better send her some flowers and apologize, because what you did was absolutely barbaric, and you don't want her to
ruin your career.
Like, it can ruin your career, and just as a human, you can't do that.
A human, fam, it's just crazy, bro.
You get me? And this is why you got to be very careful of not only the people around you, but people that don't feed into that toxicity like that. They don't feed into that toxic behavior and start feeling like all of this, the man them and yeah, that's cool, but they gotta be able to save you from yourself sometimes if you're gonna move that
Yeah.
way, or if they see you losing yourself. Because he probably wasn't. Obviously, I don't know the guy, but I don't assume that he just goes around grabbing breasts from years back. Like, I don't think that's the. Else probably would have heard about it when it's come out in all this situation.
Yeah, you
But
could have another
somewhere
story.
along the
Yeah.
lines,
Maybe.
yeah, somewhere along the lines, you've lost yourself a little bit. I don't know. Like, obviously, this is just me surmising, but I don't. He may have done it before in certain situations, but I think this strikes of a man kind of getting lost in the sauce, losing himself, feeling like the fame. You can kind of do whatever you want, and
Yeah.
that's when you get carried away. But you need someone to tell you, bro. I know,
Yeah,
like the
like yo,
girls are
slow
throwing
down, bro.
themselves at you. I know that you
Yeah,
slow down, bro. You're doing a madness right now.
you're
And
doing a
Yeah.
obviously, no
madness,
one
bro.
said that to him before. You know,
Now, no
he
one said
said
it
it
to him
like,
because
Yeah, you can tell.
his circle clearly not the same mentality as him, but I think they're obviously feeding off what he's getting. So they're feeding off his fame. It's like,
Mm,
okay, he's famous. So when we're going to shoot, there's going to be girls, or we're going to parties, there's going to be
mm,
girls, or we're going here, there's going to be girls. Like they're living off his lifestyle. So no one's going to check him because
mm,
they're getting
mm,
more of what they probably may not have even seen before. So it's okay. And
no,
he hasn't even
definitely.
been able to, like you're saying, read the room or even just think to myself like, right, okay, hold on, us man are actually moving mad. If it's a situation where other people are, you know, doing similar things to what he did. And like you're
Mm,
saying, I don't think like from personal view, he doesn't seem like the type. Like you're saying, we would have heard something else, especially once Ray came out. Like I personally haven't seen anything, and I'm not going to say that nothing else has ever happened. But it is something like someone who shot to fame too quickly and just got really, really excited. And then,
mm,
obviously,
mm,
if this situation's happened and Ray's just been like, no, that's not right. Sorry, hun. You need
mm.
to know that it's not right.
Also, as well, yeah, more gal need to speak up when these things happen to them as well. You know, more women need to speak
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
because hope like
Mm,
straight away because hopefully that will put off a lot more men as well.
Yeah.
You know what I
100%.
mean?
mm. Yeah.
100%. I
No,
think
that's what I would. Go on. Sorry. Go
that's
on.
one of the things, something that I discussed as well, speaking up.
Mm,
But it depends on what it is, especially things like sexual assault. Like I said, like going to a rave and someone touching your bum or whatever, or someone trying to move to you and like you didn't really like it. A lot of things get checked straight away.
mm-hmm.
So those small things don't ever really get talked about because it's just like, okay, I've handled that situation there and then.
Yeah.
But it's the more complicated situations of the coercion, the going out on
Mm,
a date, or come round to my house, or the um
Mm,
going for drinks and then all of a sudden you're drinking more than he is.
mm,
It's those situations, it's those things that need to be spoken about. So girls can really just be like, okay, cool, I know some of the telltale signs. You're not going to know all of them.
mm-hmm.
It's like saying to a girl, cover yourself head to toe and nothing bad will happen to you. It's not fair to say that. But the discussions need to be had. They very much need to be
mm,
had. All the
yeah.
discussions need to be had.
Yeah. All the uncomfortable
Yeah.
ones that need to be spoken about.
Yeah, it
And
has to be
yeah.
spoken
And
about.
yeah. And I was gonna say in terms of, and obviously I spoke about a little bit about education, but just obviously looking from my personal experience, I think more has to be spoken about and it's a whole deep, like we could go down a rabbit hole of why I think, especially black men, like there has to be an education around this kind of situation because you can go down a rabbit hole, like we talk about fathers in the household, like, is there is your dad telling you no, these are certain things that are wrong, but does it then does it go down to single parent families telling you, reading the
Mm,
signs? Do you understand the signs? Can you read the room?
Mm,
Do you actually
yeah.
look at, we've been taught about rape from maybe films, and it's always this seedy, maybe white man that's following a woman down the alleyway and beats her up and
Yeah.
whatever.
I get what you
But
mean. Yeah, yeah.
there's so many
Different.
different other. So our perception of rape is like,
Might be only of one
whoa,
It's
that's
very
situation.
violent.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's violent.
Yeah.
That's sadistic. That's crazy. But when in actual fact, it's going out with a rave and going out to a rave and you both took Dizzle and then it's all a bit thing and she's saying no, but she's a bit out of it and you're a little bit out of it, but you're
Yeah.
just kind of whatever, and then that happens,
Mm.
or you've been in a relationship, but today she don't want to do it and you're forcing her,
Mm.
or you're saying, nah,
Yeah.
come on, like we've done it loads of times. What are you talking about? You're moving mad. And then,
Yeah.
you know, like we don't like I feel like rape and sexual assault is not taught to us in like, yeah, no, it's not always this big bad monster that drags a woman into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is as simple as she said she
Two
didn't
people
want to
that know
do
each
it.
other and they're friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, and she said she didn't want to do it, and you've ignored her, and she's done it, but she didn't really want to. It's as simple,
Mm.
or you
It's that
touched her
simple.
and she didn't want to be
It's that
touched.
simple. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
touched you,
It's that
she didn't want to
simple.
be touched. And I think more needs to be done to kind of educate young men, and more needs to be done in the media, in songs, in, you know, all of this kind of, there's a song when people are talking. Rick Ross had a song when he's saying, I slipped a Molly and she didn't even
Molly
know
in
it.
it.
Like, or
Yeah.
she's something and she enjoyed it and she didn't even know it. Like, this has
Molly
to
on
not
the
be
place.
a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
exactly. It has to not be a cultural thing where we
Where
start
it's
to almost
normalized that man say stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Man shouldn't be saying stuff
Yeah.
like that as normal.
normalize this kind of weird, kind of rapey culture. We got to get out of that.
Mm.
But I think it
But it's
starts
been
with,
normalized from the beginning.
That's
Like they
true.
say,
yeah,
men are the breadwinners. Men are the ones that court the women. Men are the ones that go for the women or
yeah,
chase women. Like you hear that the man
Mm.
has to chase me
yeah,
kind of thing.
100%,
Like
yeah.
the mentality is so
And you got,
ingrained
yeah,
from the beginning. And even if we go back to like
Mm-hmm.
back home, like the way the men are back
mm,
home, it's like the man's the man in it. What they want, they get kind of thing.
mm,
The
Mm-hmm.
mm,
mentality is from it's in depth, deeper than
Yeah.
we realize.
Mm.
and it's ingrained, and it's
Deeper than we
something
Yeah.
that
realize.
we have to, yeah, and it's something that we have to start to break and start to change.
Unlearning.
And
Yeah.
even as
And
women,
change. Yeah.
and this is, it's not as easy. It's easier said than done as well. But women have to be stronger in, as much as they can be, in saying no. Are you go like, and I was saying this like, okay, so are you going to assault me? A lot of
Yeah.
things that might ring some alarm bells that maybe
Are
he's
you
not
about to rape me?
realizing
You
with
Yeah,
get
the
me? Yeah.
signs that you're giving it. Are you about to rape
Mm.
me? Like,
yeah,
like you, this is like, and like I said, it's easier said than done, and I don't want to be insensitive, but I think
hmm
Mm-hmm.
even us, like, again, with education, there has to be a clear, you do not have to do anything that you don't want to do. There's nobody that
Mm.
should be forcing you to do anything. And if they're
yeah,
forcing you after you are clearly explicit in what you're saying,
Yep.
then there's no black and white gray area. You know what it is, and I'm gonna put the full force of the law on you.
Mm.
And that's how,
yeah,
and that will also help them actually be caught and sentenced and tried, because obviously evidence, DNA, things like that will help them not attack anybody else, to be honest. And
yeah. I
we've
think
just
the
got to
court
be,
thing,
God,
or even sending it to the police and stuff like that. Um, Obviously, it depends on. I don't know how it works in the court sense, so I can't speak and say this is how they do it left to right or what evidence they would want. But just obviously
mm,
sitting on the back, it's kind of like, okay, even by thinking about the list, a lot of people are saying, well, why haven't these people gone to the police? Okay, well, what are you going to tell them? Like I saw someone
Yeah.
say, what exactly would I tell them? That I
mm,
know this person. I said, okay, come to my house, or okay, we'll meet up, even though I wasn't too sure. I said no, they didn't stop. How do you prove that?
Mm.
Say it
mm,
happened
mm,
in this moment right now, and then 5 minutes later I'm at the police station. It just happened.
Mm.
What
Got
am I
different.
going to prove? If the man's saying,
mm,
okay, but nah, like we know each other and we had sex,
Yeah.
and I'm saying I
Proof
didn't
is a
want
very
to,
different thing in court.
proof is a very
mm,
different thing in
yeah,
court.
Very, very different.
Proof is a
mm,
very bit in a case like this,
Mm.
it's very much
mm,
one word against the other. Then how does the judge then say, okay, well, you're lying and you're not, when it could be the other way around?
mm.
it's very difficult. And I think, like you're saying, education is the
mm,
best thing on the male and female side.
Mhm.
It's the best
mm,
thing. But then women also need to be confident in themselves to maybe just like it's, and I don't want to put it on women because it isn't about women. I think it's about
It's not.
education full stop. And it's about the
mm,
mentality of the person who thinks that, oh, it's okay, I'm just going to take it anyway. But saying
mm,
no from the jump, even if it's a case of saying, oh, I don't want to come over to yours, can we go for a drink? If they say no, then done it there.
Mhm.
mm,
Don't let
mm,
anyone's mentality coerce you into going there because they're making you feel, oh, I'm being childish, or oh,
Mm.
nothing's going to happen anyway, or I've already said that I don't want anything to happen. He's okayed it, but I'm still not sure. Like the
mm,
mind is such a beautiful thing where it's just like, if you said no and then you're not sure, keep your no as your no and
Yeah.
stay where you are, kind of thing.
mm,
Because you don't want to be put in a predicament where 3-4 years down the line, you look back and think, oh, do you know what? I didn't want to do that. I might have agreed to it at
Mm.
the time, but inside, I
mm,
didn't want to do it. It's tough. It's really, really tough because it's not something that you can say, if I go down this road, that's rape. If I go this road, it leads to safety. You don't know where it's going to
mm,
come from. So it's hard to even attempt to
mm,
prevent it in any way, shape, or form, even sexual assault or sexual abuse. It's not one of those things that you can know that if I go this way, it's not going to happen to me. You never know. You never know. It's really about education and making sure that everyone can recognize it. And you just pray that certain men and women know not to do it.
mm. Word. But
Definitely.
on that note,
Definitely.
I think that's a good way to wrap up. Any final thoughts now?
Um. It's people that have been involved in any situations. They just need to take accountability and not try to
Mm,
spin their way out of it by any sort of excuses. Especially if you're,
Mm-hmm.
especially situations where you've been involved with people that they know from prior. So it's not even like it's no random thing. People that you know from prior. If they're saying they felt
mm,
like that, bruv, you gotta take that. You gotta swallow it and
mm,
apologize profusely and do whatever you need to
Yeah.
do to make that person feel okay again. You get me? But yeah, in general, man, them just needs to just be a lot more. I've used your brain a lot more, man. Come on, man. Man's all got
Mm.
brains,
mm,
but use your common sense as well, man. A lot of it is common sense, and man's acting like they got no common sense. I've used your common sense and
mm,
read situations a little bit more, and man, don't just be stepping through life with their ego because of what they do. Ah, I'm an artist, or I'm a this, or I'm a that. You get me,
Yeah.
man's. Come on, you have to be a lot more careful, bruv. A lot more.
mm. Word.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, man. Laura.
Final thoughts. Um, yeah, just to echo Nat's, like, men and women, read the room. Definitely read the room,
Mhm.
whatever situation you're in. Like, if you think that me touching her or him or doing this is going to make them feel a type of way, don't do it. And if there's
Mm,
anyone that has been in a situation like that, I don't speak. I think speaking about trauma is a lot more therapeutic than people realize. A trauma like this is something that it doesn't go away, but you can always draw strength from it. Um, so speak about these situations, especially if you're not sure whether it happened or not. That's the worst thing, that you can actually sit there and be like, oh, I don't know whether this happened. Um,
mm,
but it's very, very good to have these conversations because you then know what you'll accept or what you won't accept. You can start seeing the signs,
mm,
and you can educate other people and younger women as well, because we're
Mm.
of somewhat age now, not to say that anything couldn't happen to us, but it's the younger generation now, that we need to teach. We need to teach them that, okay, asking permission is cool. There's nothing wrong with asking permission. Like, girls, it's okay to not go to somebody's house, or it's okay to say no.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are
mm.
my final thoughts.
Cool. Yeah, man. But just on a whole, man, everyone just do better. Man, them do better. Just
Oh, hold your friends
understand.
accountable.
I was about to say that as well,
Yeah,
Laura. That's the next
yeah.
one. Man, hold their
Yeah,
friends
Hold your
accountable,
friends
bruv. When you when you
accountable,
hold
when
your
you see your
man.
yeah,
brothers moving mad, bruv, man, open up their mouth, bruv.
yeah,
Yeah.
Man, stop doing
no,
Ray
hundred
Charles like
percent.
they can't see.
Hmm.
Word. Yeah, nah, man, them do better. Hold your friends accountable. Actually, assess the situation, and even if you have to protect the woman from your friends, do that. Like this is
Hundred,
really
bruv.
important. Like we all have
Mm,
moms, we all have
mhm,
sisters, we all have,
Yeah.
some will have children, some will have nieces, and we
mhm.
just need to protect our women in the best way that we can. Women as well,
Yeah.
100%.
protect yourselves, protect your men as well. Like don't feel like this can't be something that can happen to a man, because it can. And we
Mhm.
need to equally look at these situations and just put a stop to it in general. To all the victims, like we stand with you. Like if there's anything
Yeah.
that we can do as people to be better, then let us know, tell us, explain to us how you're feeling. And
Yeah.
like Laura said, it can help to discuss it and open these dialogues so that you can stop maybe the next woman from being abused,
Mm,
or the next man
Yeah.
from being abused, or from the next man from committing abuse or rape
mhm.
or anything along those lines, because they have a clearer understanding of what rape or abuse actually is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And also, if anybody that's being disingenuine, please don't, because you're taking it away from the
Mm,
women that actually need help and need your help and need help from other people, and
Yeah.
not ruining people's lives based on other things outside of what we deem this is. It's really important that we as a community like really stamp this out and stamp out the right people, and make sure that they can't do these type of things again, because the mental health side effects of this whole situation in general, of people who have been lied on, people have been lied to, people have been
mm.
raped, people have been abused. All of that is such a big impact on their mental health and the mental state of, especially, and we're talking about black people as well, especially for us. We've got to do better for ourselves. We've got to be as
100.
united as we can be, and stamp these kind
Yeah.
of things up. But that's me. But yeah, let's wrap it up now. Obviously, it's just gone over the hour mark. But Laura, Luscious,
God.
appreciate you. Salute you. God.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it. No, we appreciate it. And obviously,
Anytime.
hopefully you'll be coming back soon next
Yeah,
week.
I'll pop in and out,
You get me?
when God's not busy,
Uh
doing other stuff.
yeah, whatever. Nah, my brother. Love
Don't
every
know,
time.
bro.
So yeah. MX90s, check out the Twitter, Insta, everything, the YouTube channels, MX90s podcast. Messi, we out.